How you doing? I'm Matt with 731woodworks.com. Today we're going to take this unorganized mess that we have in our dining room / pantry area and turn it into this organized awesomeness right here that you see. This pantry is a perfect way to add extra storage and build something awesome. It features 4 slide-out basket drawers for lots of extra storage of chips, things like that. We've got extra shelves for canned goods, drinks, dog food for us, and then obviously decorations up there. Let's get started. Today, we're building this pantry. It's all made out of plywood and 1x4s. That's it. Plans will be available for this build, link in the description below. So I got to figure out exactly how wide I want this pantry to be. Trying to figure this out as I go, which is the most scary part and the most rewarding part of woodworking. A lot of times when I build these projects, I have no idea. I have a little bit of an idea of what I want to do, but I kind of figure it out as I go. Lucky for you, there'll be plans linked in the description below if you want to build one like this, as well as links to these baskets. So Miss 731 picked out these baskets. We actually went to Lowe's looking for a base cabinet, just like you put in the kitchen, and we was going to build some shelves above it and then build a top for it. The more we got to looking at it, they stuck out so far. They were like 35 inches deep, and it wasn't what we were looking for. We need a place to store food and pantry items. I think this is going to fit the bill if I can make it work. So this is just standing in because we know we're going to have a divider in there, so I just took a scrap piece and put on here so that I go ahead and divide that. These are, total length is 42 1/4 of the baskets. We got to add 1 inch on each side for the drawer slides. Each one of these are 1/2 inch. I know we got 43 1/4 and then 44 1/4 for the inside dimensions of the shelf. To get my cut straight, I'm going to be using the Craig Rip cut. If you haven't seen the video, 3 ways to cut straight, I'll drop a link in the description below. It talks about how to use this Craig Rip cut. It works well. Most any circular saw will fit inside of it. This is what I was talking about figuring out as I go. I cut that end piece 16 inches. I probably should have cut it at 15. That's not gonna matter, but I caught it early. 16 times 3 is 48. If I'm cutting each strip 16 inches, when I get over here, this strip, the last piece that I can use for shelving, is not gonna be 16 inches because the blade's gonna take some out every time. 1/8 inch about. And so I'm gonna wind up with too narrow of a piece. The basket's actually 14 3/4, a little over deep. If I cut these 15 inches plus the 3/4 inch face piece that we're going to put on here, it'll still be plenty. So I'm going to revise what I was saying and cut 15 inch strips, 2 of them. That'll leave me 1 piece that's a little over probably 16, 17 inches, and I'll rip it with the table saw down to the size. Matter of fact, after I rip all these off, I'm ripping them just a little bit wide, and I'll take them, run them through the table saw so that I get them exactly where I want them, which is about 15 inches is what I'm gonna be looking for. So trying to conserve as much material as possible. I don't wanna come out here and be left over with a short piece, go back and have to trim everything up. 15 inches. A couple of things when you're working with plywood, you need to be able to catch it when it falls. So that's good for this works table's perfect for that. If you hadn't seen the review of that, go check that out. Link in the description below. Also, a couple of these quick clamps on the edge, that'll keep this plywood from moving on you as you make your cut. So this is gonna be one upright. I always take a look underneath and make sure I'm not gonna take off part of my table. You let that blade stop all the way before you make your move. If not, you'll wind up getting a kickback. I always move it back just a little before I restart also. We got those down to manageable pieces now. That's the main thing when you're working with these sheet goods, and that's why that Craig Rip cut's so awesome. It's because you can break this stuff down into manageable pieces where you can run it through the table saw. But if you don't have a table saw, I built tons of stuff just using the Craig Rip cut, so you don't need a table saw for this project. This is a featherboard. I have a review on that as well if you want to go check that out. What that does is this tightens down into your T-track of your saw, and it doesn't move, and it has these little feathers that they're just plastic, but it keeps pressure going towards the fence. And what that does is helps everything stay nice and snug against the fence, especially when you're working with long pieces like that plywood. It has a tendency to walk on you on the back, because you can't hold it all the way tight against the fence when you're way back there. So it's basically just an extra set of hand that gets really close to the blade without your hand getting close to the blade. There's another model. This is a Mousecraft featherboard. It's really nice and it's very inexpensive. There's another model called the Hedgehog. I'd always wanted to try that out. It looks like it's easier to adjust, but this works well. Link in the description below if you want one. Also, when you're cutting plywood, you need good quality blade or you're going to get a bunch of fray and chipping. This is a Diablo 60 tooth. I'll drop a link in the description below to this blade. It's just recently cleaned, so it's nice and sharp. I got minimal to no tear out on this plywood, which is what you want. So I'm just cutting the shelves to length. Inside shelves are going to be 44 1/4. The top will be 45 11/16 because it goes from outside to outside, and we'll drill from the top into the uprights. These will go, of course, inside to inside, and we'll pocket hole them in place. I'll tell your mom and them because this is going to shock you. I started to dado shelves in. I know that it would be stronger. If you have the means to do that, I suggest you do it. So the bit I have, I've got a 3/4 inch straight cut bit, and I tested it on this piece. And while that'll fit in there, it's really sloppy. And so there's about a 30-second probably gap. I'm not comfortable with it because it's just a sloppy fit. If it was a nice snug fit, we would dado all day. But because it has that flop in there, I don't want to do that. So pocket hole this. When your saw's not wide enough to cross cut enough to be able to cut the whole thing, you just have to flip it over and cut the other side. In case you hadn't noticed, we got a 2x4 shirt. There's a card right below this video if you want to go check out your own, or there's a link in the description below to the Teespring store. Take you to the same place. Get your own 2x4 shirt, help support this channel. You get a virtual fist bump. I got this 44 1/4 inch inside shelf. Based on the drawing Miss 731 drew up, this was the first iteration. We scrapped that. We went with the second iteration. This is how what we're building. I got my top, I got a shelf, shelf, shelf. So I need 3 shelves. You need buy 2 sheets of plywood for this project. You'll have some extra left over. You can build tons of stuff with it. You can have some extra, it won't hurt nothing. So what I've done is I'm gonna go ahead and put this first piece that I cut 44 1/4. I've got it flushed up on the end down here, and we're gonna make the cut here. Once I get everything flushed, I'm just gonna take some quick clamps, clamp everything together so nothing moves. We're not building a clock, but we are building a pantry that's gonna have pull-out drawers or baskets on drawer slides, so we want it to be really close. The shelves that go in the middle of the pantry, we're gonna use pocket holes. If you don't like pocket holes, do something different or turn your head. It's happening. People complain that they're not strong enough. I don't see that. We're gonna be stacking cereal and potato chips on this pantry. If you're stacking like tons of weight on it, like jars of food and bunches of cans of vegetables and beef stew or whatever you eat, something different. Put some braces under it, whatever you want to do. This is gonna be perfect fine. If I decide that this is not strong enough, I can take some strips of wood underneath where the shelf is attached with pocket holes, and just you can glue and brad nail that on there. It'll give it extra strength. I am not. I'll probably do 4 pocket holes per shelf per side. All right. So I went ahead and marked so half of 3/4, which is 3/8 of an inch, away from the edge, and then I moved over an inch off the edge. Then I just divided this into 2 equal parts. And so I'm gonna put floor screws going from the top down into the uprights. Before I do that, I just have a center punch. I just punch where I want to start my drill. This just keeps the drill bit from walking on you when you start it. So I'm gonna countersink these. So you just need a countersink bit, just like that. That just keeps the screw head from sticking out of the top of this. We can inset it. We can even fill it with CA glue if we wanted to, but I don't. So we got the frame of the shelf cut out and we're gonna assemble, but the first thing I'm gonna do is take 120 grit sandpaper and just kind of lightly go over everything, get all the burrs and the splinters out so that when I get it assembled and start putting my face frame and stuff like that on, I don't have to worry about having to go back and sand this part. It'll already be done. So now it's time to assemble. We got all our parts cut out of the main frame with the plywood. So I'm gonna go ahead and assemble this. I'm just using 1 1/4 inch screws. So it's basically put about a much screw into the next piece. Wood glue is gonna be your friend here because that's what's really creating the bond. One of a kind glue spreader. I always like to put my other glue under there just to keep it for later. This is the hard part when I need to get some corner clamps, something terrible. But the main thing you're looking for is we're gonna use this as the top face. So we want this to be flush. We want this outside edge to be flush. Whenever you get that, you just hold it in place, put the screw in. Pretty close. It ain't perfect, but it's close. Sometimes you gotta improvise. This is a pretty good sized piece, so I don't have a way of getting it all together. So I'm going to use my works table with a couple of blocks just to hold that end up fairly close to square. You're not really looking for perfect square at this point because it's going to be moving all over. Once you get all your shelves in, all the trim pieces on, this thing's going to be rock solid. But for now, it's going to be really flimsy, so be careful. Again, you're making sure that face is flush and make sure the edges are flush as you can get them. We decided we wanted a shelf at 8, the top of the shelf, the top of the plywood shelf, at 8 inches, 28 inches, and 60 inches. It's gonna leave us plenty of room for the baskets as well as a little space under the baskets where we can store the internet router, the satellite box, things like that. Gives us plenty of storage area, and it divides these areas into about 20-inch sections each. Wood glue, pocket hole screws. So I've already marked the lines for the 60-inch, 28, and 8-inch. And I spread these out just a little bit so that I could get that glue line on there. And then we're gonna just push it back together. You wanna make sure this front face is flush. This is a Craig, something other clamp. But that little doodad right there goes into the pocket hole. This goes on the other side. I've been meaning to buy one of these for a long time, and this is the perfect application for it. I can line that shelf up with that 60-inch line, make any adjustments I need to right here, clamp that dude on there. Then I can drive pocket hole screws in there, and this will hold it in place. Should have bought one years ago. Yeah, baby, yeah. Got that one screw drove. I'm gonna check for square. Like a breath. You've made distressing famous and now you're moving away from it. What? You made it famous and now you're moving away from it. So you'll see the dark color there. I had to wipe some glue off with a damp rag because I glued the wrong side. So you just want to press it out so that you don't smear that glue down. So I just kind of press it out. Get it close to the line and then we can tie it together. I wish it was more crowded in here. That way I could find somewhere to trip over. Where's my square? At least it's not my tape measure this time. Pretty daggum close. I know some of y'all don't like these pocket holes. Use the pocket hole. We're gonna use this 3/8 inch dowel to fill these pocket holes on this top of this second to the top shelf. It's being the top. What would you call this? This one that's closest to the top, we're gonna use this 3/8 inch dowel to fill those pocket holes so everybody won't be complaining that you can see the pocket holes. These down here are gonna be under eye level. If you wanna fill those yourself, you can. I'm not going to. So you just put a little wood glue in your dowel. Take your handy dandy mallet that I taught you how to build a few weeks ago. Flush cut trim saw. These things are relatively inexpensive on Amazon. I'll drop a link in the description below. Oh man, got glue on my 2x4 shirt. Once the glue dries, we can be able to sand that flat, and after it's painted, you'll never know it's there. So while we let those pocket plugs dry, so I can cut them off flush with the flush trim saw, we'll go ahead and start facing this thing out. I'm just using some 1x4s I'm gonna cut down. First thing I'm gonna do is cut the long stretchers first, and then we'll cut the side. Actually, we gotta put this divider in. That's what we're doing first. So when measuring for that center divider, I'm just gonna measure on the outside edge. You don't wanna measure right here because the plywood could be bowed. So you wanna make sure you're measuring on the outside edge. This is 31 5/16 of an inch. I wanna make sure it's the same over here. I hope it's the same. I hope it's close. Yep, 31 5/16 of an inch. So we're going to cut a divider 31 5/16 of an inch by 15 inches is what we ripped these, remember? What did I say? 31 5/16 of an inch. So I'm going to put this divider in. It's the same width as the shelves. I'm going to glue and just brad nail it in from underside and on the top side. There's no need to try to pocket hold this thing in there. The glue's going to hold it. If you're using the same baskets we are, 21 3/4 of an inch space on each side. Let's hope it fits. That's 21 3/4. That's 21 3/4. So somebody stole my pencil. Somebody come in here and stole the pencil. Did it fall a while ago? What'd you do with it?
I didn't touch your
You hit my pencil. Who hit it? Dang it! Where's my pencil? Oh man down, oh man down. All right, so I say that a lot. All right, so looking for 21 3/4 or dang close to that. Check this side for the same. 21 and a half, don't put the wood. Watch out. 21 3/4. This is really the most imperative part because your drawer slides are going in there. You don't want it to be off. So that's what I'm looking for here, 21 3/4. I want to make sure that it's pretty close. Boy, I got in here without a square. And there it is, way over there. I put the glue line on there, and if you just drag it over, you'll just smear the glue. So this stuff is flexible enough you can push out on it, move this in place, and then let it go. It should come together nicely. I've done the same thing on that end. Boy, do I need a clamp. I done climbed in and out of this thing more times than I want to over this stuff. So all this is gonna do is I'm gonna use that just to kind of hold everything together. I cut this board the exact width. It's just a 1x4, the exact width. What's up? I love you. So the exact width of the shelf, or the, what do you call this thing? The pantry. The exact width of the pantry. I've cut some strips the exact same size as the thickness of the plywood, so about 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 inch plywood isn't exactly 3/4, it's about 11/16, give or take. So we're just gonna glue and brad nail these on. We'll be able to sand everything and start painting pretty soon. Glue, brad nails. Brad nails is about 1.25 inches is what I'm shooting. This piece is gonna go all the way across the top. The thinner pieces will run from the underside of this 1x4 all the way to the floor, and then the middle pieces will go between these long runners. That way you've got, it'll look better, I think. What we hadn't decided on, she hasn't decided on, is whether she wants a 1x4 across the bottom shelf or the thin 3/4 inch piece. It's time to sand. We're going to sand to 120 grit. That's what I'm sanding to. I've already sanded the bottom. That's why it's laying upside down. It's going to pick it up. So we're about 1.5 sheets of plywood into this project, so it's fairly heavy. It's going to sand everything 120 grit. I'm just going to lightly hit these edges to knock that sharp edge off. Everything else should have been sanded prior to putting it together, but if you see a splinter or something, you can sand that through. I did have one brad nail shoot out the side because I was holding the brad nailer crooked. So as soon as I get done sanding with this 120 grit, I'm going to put this Extreme Bond primer on there. It's Sherwin-Williams, that's hard to say, it's hard for a redneck to say. Sherwin-Williams Extreme Bond Primer. Once the primer is on there, one coat, let it dry good. We're painting it white with the Sherwin-Williams Emerald paint. We usually use Pro Classic, but we have this on hand, so we're going to use it. You know what time it is. Power tip time. So I put a coat of primer and then 3 coats of that white paint, that Sherwin-Williams Emerald paint. You can use any high quality paint, but I do recommend using high quality paints on your projects. It pays off in the long run because it's just gives you a better finish and it'll last a lot longer. It's more durable. Power tip is between coats. What time is it? It's power tip time. Between the coats, you take a high grit sandpaper. This is 1500 grit paper. This is a sanding block. I'll drop a link in the description below.
There's a link in the description.
To the sandpaper and the sanding block. Very inexpensive. This is going to give you that smooth as butter finish. You take it and you just wipe or sand, lightly sand, no pressure at all, just move the sanding block up and down all over the project, then take a damp cloth and wipe off any dust you've created. That's going to give you that smooth furniture quality finish you're looking for. If you don't do this, especially on plywood, pine, stuff like that, when you put that water-based paint on, it raises the grain. So you'll wind up having a rough finish. This will cure that for you. Between each coat, on the last coat, don't sand. Should be pretty smooth. There may be just a couple of places where it's a little rough, but that's okay. Now we're going to install these baskets. These are Allen and Roth baskets. They have drawer slides on each side. This is the model number 0339211. I'll put a link in the description below. These are to the Lowe's baskets. If you got the plans to this, you need this exact size basket for it to work correctly with the cutting chart, or with the cutting list, with the cut list. If you use a different size basket, be sure to adjust your measurements accordingly. So I'm gonna be using the Craig drawer slide jig, and what this does is it just clamps onto the side of this so that you can place your drawer slides correctly without having to try to worry about them moving on you while you're attaching them in place. These things are super handy and they're very inexpensive. Link in the description below.
This is our grandbaby. She barks a lot.
So we want the top of this drawer slide at 4 inches below the top shelf. So that's what I've done. I measured down. These Craig drawer slide jigs are clamped in place, and it holds everything nice and square to the face of your piece so that you can get everything screwed in there and won't have it moving on you. So all you're going to do is take the drawer slide apart. They should have a little tab in there that you just push down and pull the slide part. This will bolt onto the basket. And I'm going to line that drawer slide up with that seam where we put that 3/4 inch piece on for the face to face it out with. That way I'll be sure to have them all lined up exactly the same. And when the basket closes, it goes in behind this face. These don't come with drawer slide screws to mount into the frame, so you'll need to pick some up. They're just small screws is all you need. Just make sure they're not longer than 3/4 inch so it doesn't bust through. Always pre-drill with a small drill bit into these holes, and then we add the screws in there. Don't over tighten those because you'll strip those out pretty easy. So we put these drawer slides at 4 inches from the bottom of this shelf. The next set of drawer slides we're going to put at 16 inches to the top of the drawer slide from the bottom of this shelf, and that'll put this basket approximately right there. So it'll also save enough room from the bottom of this basket to the next shelf to also have some storage. So maximize your space. I highly recommend that you attach this to your wall to keep it from falling over, especially if you have young kids in the house that may climb on something like this. You don't want it to fall over on them. So I'm just going to use some simple L brackets attached to the top that also attach to the wall with some drywall anchors. For one, it'll keep everything from falling, and it should shore everything up and keep it from being a little rickety. If you build something like this, it may move a little bit because there's no back support on there. If you don't want to attach it to the wall and you're going to take that chance, take some 1/4 inch plywood, glue and brad nail to the back of it. It'll make it solid as a rock. Now, Miss 731's got to figure out everything she wants on there, and we're going to stock this thing and we'll be done. So you know I'm going to point out my mistakes. I do this on every video so that you don't make them too. Couple of things. Right here you see the drawer slide actually hit it as it come by because this isn't exactly flush. So be sure that there's about maybe a 32nd or a 64th of an inch sticking by right there. What happened was tried to cut these same thickness as the plywood, but it wound up being just a little over. So the solution to that was I moved the drawer slide forward until it's just overlapping that trim piece. So I'll take that white paint, touch that up, and those black marks will be gone. And so I wind up doing the exact same thing on all the drawer slides and just move them slightly forward so that they're just past that trim piece. That solves the issue. So the edge of the plywood on the top is exposed. See that? If you don't want it to be exposed, you can actually trim this out with some 1x or even some 1/8" strips and just make a frame around that and trim it out. We didn't want to do that. It's fine the way it is for us. So those are plugged pocket holes on that. You can see I could have filled in that with putty and gotten rid of that. It's really not that big of a deal to us because it's rarely going to be seen. This is eye level for me. This is eye level for Mrs. 731. This is eye level for Mackenzie. Hey, if you like this type of video, go ahead and click that box right there. It takes you to the next set of videos. Awesome build projects right there for you. Also, another one of my favorite videos right there if you click that. If you click one of those 2 boxes, you're getting that virtual fist bump. Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't already, click the thumbs up. Share this with your friends. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.